Hello world, McDonald's has managed to accidentally leak the credentials to a confidential Monopoly competition database to their entire email list, and one of the most infamous ransomware gangs ever returns and gives some juicy inside details explaining how they screwed up the largest ransomware attack the interwebs has ever seen. That's in today's episode of The Week Web, where we break down and dissect cybersecurity related tech news. McDonald's have managed to pwn themselves, leaking the credentials to their own McDonald's Monopoly database to their customers via email. I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with how McDonald's Monopoly works, but if you're not, in certain countries every year McDonald's runs this promotion, which sees little mystery stickers added to their food. You peel off the stickers, and if you manage to match them in certain combinations, as per the Monopoly board, you can win a car, a lot of money, or even a serving of medium fries. These stickers also come with mystery codes you can enter on the McDonald's website in order to win yet more prizes. Cynics may just see this as a ploy for McDonald's to harvest your user data, but there are some great prizes in the lineup. You could even be in with the chance to win a 10% discount on your next dishwasher. After entering your code, McDonald's notifies you of a win or non-win via email. Now this is where the problem arose. You see, in addition to your prize, the emails also came pre-appended with a real prize, in the form of a user ID and password mapping to a confidential McDonald's database. We don't know for sure what the database contains, as no one, at least not publicly, seems to have actually tried their luck with the Creds to see what those keys unlocked. Though the database is clearly linked with marketing, it could be user data or perhaps a list of all winning codes. The founder of the startup Creatorsphere, one Greg, was the first to come across the mistake. He explained in an interview with the Register that the string was a Windows Azure database connection string. The problem, he explained, was simple. A variable in the string, persist security info, had mistakenly been set to true. When true, you get the credentials pre-appended to the outputs. The Register explains that Greg noted that when viewed in the web app version of Microsoft Outlook, the email didn't display the code string, suggesting that whoever tested this email, if it was tested at all, was using Outlook. Greg tried getting in touch with McDonald's to report the issue, however no one bothered to return his calls or emails. With nowhere else to turn, Greg publicly posted the issue on TikTok, as that's one surefire place to get attention. And it worked. He managed to grab the attention of McDonald's, who promptly fixed the issue. McDonald's have claimed that the credentials were just for a staging database. If true, this means the leaked creds aren't so much of a big deal, still embarrassing all the same, but not quite as cataclysmic as it could have been. A staging database is an intermediate storage area used for data processing. New data is loaded into a staging database and processed before it's sent to its final destination. Some are doubting McDonald's claim as merely an attempt to downplay the situation, but I suppose we'll never know. Just 2 months after one of the internet's most infamous ransomware gangs, rEvil, vanished, ceasing operations, their dark web sites have suddenly rebooted. The group is apparently aiming to become fully operational once again. They disappeared under strange circumstances, however rumours about them being pwned by the Russian government have been greatly exaggerated. Since their re-emergence, a spokesman for rEvil has popped up on cybercrime forums, giving some juicy insights as to the gang's future plans and explains some dumb mistakes they made in their last campaign. But who is rEvil? The Russian ransomware gang was one of the internet's largest. According to Emisoft, in Q1 this year, their malware accounted for 4.6% of ransomware attacks globally. They were responsible for some of the internet's most memorable ransomware stings. Too many to go through in one video, see their Wikipedia page for that. Though to mention just a couple, they exfiltrated MacBook schematics from a Taiwanese manufacturer and tried to charge Apple $50 million not to leak them. But their most notable attack, which immediately preceded their disappearance, was the Kaseya hack, in which they exploited a vulnerability in software sold by Kaseya. This software is used by companies to monitor and control whole fleets of computers. Thousands of companies each saw dozens, if not hundreds of their computers infected, which caused a massive headache for IT admins. rEvil set the ransom in this case at $70 million, which wasn't paid. rEvil's re-emergence has seen their dark web blog resurrected. They call this the Happy Blog. Here they post data from companies they hack which refuse to pay the ransom. Some of you guys in the comments have pointed out that rEvil is probably meant to be pronounced rEvil, which does kind of make sense, I suppose, though until we get an official advisory from the group itself, I'm sticking with rEvil. Besides, rEvil is a word, though spelt differently. It means to enjoy oneself in a lively and noisy way, which does somewhat fit in with the gang's brand. After all, they call their dark website the Happy Blog. Anyway, speaking of their Happy Blog, it doesn't seem to contain any new entries appended since they went dark, suggesting that they're not actively pwning victims, at least not yet. rEvil is a ransomware as a service group, meaning they rely on their affiliates to spread their malware, affiliates which may have moved on in their cybercrime careers since rEvil's departure. Given rEvil's reputation, it won't be hard for them to attract attention, though persuading affiliates to rejoin after having just left them so suddenly will be a challenge. A new account has popped up on cybercrime forum Exploit claiming to represent rEvil. Flashpoint details the activity of the account, which explained the ransomware group has managed to come back online using their backups. The account also details how the gang screwed up the Kaseya hack. You might remember a week or two after the Kaseya hack went down, a universal decryptor key mysteriously appeared and was distributed by Kaseya to victims. The rumour mill was rife with speculation at the time, some suggesting that the Russian government had compromised rEvil and handed the key over to the FBI as an act of goodwill. Others thought Kaseya had simply paid the ransom. However, we now know that the universal decryption key was leaked by mistake. The rEvil spokesman said, "We had to generate between 20 and 500 decryption keys for each individual victim, because the victims of the Kaseya hack all had networks of different sizes. One of our coders misclicked and generated a universal key, and issued the universal decryptor key along with a bunch of keys for one machine." Flashpoint said the universal decryptor was then discovered and sent to Kaseya and law enforcement agencies. There's not much left to say about rEvil's return. We shall have to wait and see if they ever manage to regain the ground they've lost in the last couple of months. I need to tell you about today's sponsor, Linode. VPNs are useful and help to keep you private and secure, but they come with a trove of issues. Mainly, would you entrust a VPN company with your traffic over your ISP? The bottom line is that if you didn't set up a VPN server yourself, you really can't be sure these VPN companies won't keep logs, sell your data, or monitor your traffic. That's why I've teamed up with Linode to give you the opportunity to host your own private VPN for free. Linode is a totally customizable cloud hosting platform with a whole host of server apps you can install with one click. Using their WireGuard or OpenVPN app, you can spin up a private VPN controlled wholly by yourself in a matter of minutes. Linode launched way back in 2003. That's 3 years before AWS was even a thing. Linode doesn't spend a second on side hustles like grocery chains or reading you bedtime stories. Cloud computing is what they do best and is their only focus. Linode is offering all of you guys $100 in free credit just for signing up. Use your $100 to instantiate your private VPN or literally anything else cloud computing related. They have 24/7 phone support, which is a godsend in the world of servers, so you'll never be left out in the cold. Go to linode.com/satonic or click the link in the description to claim your free $100. If you enjoy this kind of video, make sure to help me out by tickling the like button for the YouTube AI, as well as turning on those sub notifications. If you want to see what goes on behind the scenes, make sure to follow me on the Instagrams. I'm @JohnT. I will of course link it in the description. And if you're looking for something to watch next, go check out my previous video on how new Bluetooth hacks have been discovered, which have the ability to not only crash devices, but also remotely take them over. As always, sources will be linked in the video description. Stay tuned for more hacking videos, and have a good one.